Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Salazar here, sorry about the sunlight in the background, it's a nice beautiful day here in Timaru, New Zealand. So this is not a Pokemon video. In this video I'm going to talk about the upcoming Bathurst 1000 for 2021, which is on December 5th, normally in October, but I'll get to that more in a minute. And final two races of the Formula 1 Championship for 2021. They've both been bloody awesome to watch. Unfortunately, the Australian V8's not so much due to all the losses around the COVID. But that's cool. We'll talk about them anyway, and how the championships have been throughout the year. So I'll start off with Formula 1 because I feel like the Formula 1 Championship for 2021 is a really hot topic this year. With the battle, the mega battle between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. If you don't know who they are, go look them up on Google. But essentially, Lewis Hamilton is now, he's a 7-time world champion, drives for Mercedes, which is essentially the best car in Formula 1. They've got good straight line speed, their handling's good. But anyway, and Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, which in some seasons has not been a good car, but in some seasons it has been. There's tracks that suit that car, and tracks that just make that car look god awful. But Max has driven like an absolute beast this year to try and beat Hamilton, to claim his first world title, because no one for the last 7 or so years has been able to top Lewis. Sebastian Vettel's been up there, and he became a 3-time champion. Stopped Hamilton's reign for a little bit. But then when Vettel went to Ferrari, he didn't really win many championships. Well, he didn't win any, to be that matter. So, like, with Lewis still being up at the top for Mercedes, even though I won't really talk about how he's won some of his races and let his teammates do his dirty work for him, and giving up his teammates wins as well, because there's big team orders in Formula 1, and of course they're going to let the person who's leading the chip, who's got the most points, go through, and I don't really think that's fair in my eye. I think if you're racing in a championship, you need to get as many wins as you can, even if your teammate is faster than you. You've got to let them have their shot in the spotlight. So unfortunately, Lewis isn't the biggest fan of that in my eye. So in my opinion of his career, I don't really think he's a horrible driver. Like, obviously it helps when you're in the better car, but at the same time, I can't really understand why you'd want to cry and complain that you're finishing second or third. That's not the most horrible thing in the world. But obviously when you're that competitive, you always want to win, every single time. And I understand where he's coming from there, but at the same time, you can't win every single race. You can't be the fastest car every single weekend like they try to be. So that's what kind of grinds my gears about his career and how he goes by it. But at the same time, some of the drives that he's put through is some of the best I've ever seen. So, mixed opinions on that. But for Max, this is his best season ever in my eye. He's driven so well to be up the top. He leads the championship by, I think now 6 points or 14 points, one or the other, something like that. But essentially, he's had 10 wins this year now. I'm pretty sure Lewis has only had, he's had quite a handful himself. I think 6. I think Lewis has had 6 this year, maybe. But yeah, as I'm going to say, they've had multiple contact this year, those two guys. They've had contact in Silverstone, which I think is where it all started, and that really affected the way I kind of feel about Lewis, because in my eye and what I saw, I felt like that Lewis was the one that kind of tapped Verstappen's back wheel, and Verstappen went flying into the tyre wall at about 230 mile an hour, or 200 and something mile an hour, and it was such a hard hit. And if it wasn't for those bloody halos in the car, he probably wouldn't even be racing right now. So, big credit to the F1 safety and technology that they have in those cars. But then yet there was also Monza, where Hamilton came out of the pit lane. He came across Max Verstappen over the white line, which you're allowed to do. You're allowed to come over the white line once you've... you're allowed to go... stay inside of the white line, and once the white line's over, you can come back onto the track. Lewis did that, but either he didn't see Max or he did it on purpose, so I'm not really going to comment on that. But essentially, Max was coming down the front straight. He was into the braking zone. Max went around the outside, which you're allowed to do, and Lewis didn't give him enough space, and going into the next part of the chicane, Verstappen tapped Lewis's back wheel, and Max's car went on top of Lewis's. And once again, credit to their safety cell, because if that halo wasn't there, the bottom of that car would have been on top of Lewis's head. So big credit to those. Anyway, there's 2 races left of that championship. They've got Saudi Arabia, which is this weekend, and then the week after, I'm pretty sure, is Abu Dhabi. And so the only way that Max can really win this weekend is if he gets the fastest lap of the race and he wins it. So he's going to have the fastest lap and win the race, and Lewis is going to finish 6th place or higher. Or lower, so he's going to finish from 6th down to 7th, 8th, whatever. But that's where Lewis is going to finish. If that doesn't happen, so for example, if Lewis finishes 2nd and Max wins the race with the fastest lap, or someone else gets the fastest lap, then they'll be tied on points going into that final race, which is going to be epic to watch. So that's enough about Formula 1, sorry about the rant on that. But the Australian V8 series, the Supercars Championship, if you didn't watch the whole 4 weeks of the Sydney rounds, pretty good week, pretty good racing over there. Anton De Pasquale and the Shell V-Power of Ford Mustang was extremely fast, especially over qualifying. He was really fast. He got a few race wins, but not as many as what he would have liked, because they did have some rain delayed races, especially in the weekend just gone that they did. They had a rain affected race, and that kind of killed that off a bit. But all the Red Bull cars were fast, the Shell cars were fast. Tickford had a horrid weekend, and I'm pretty sure they'll want to forget about that. Had a first time winner. Rookie Will Brown got his first win for Erebus, so congratulations to Will. Did a fantastic job. Hold off some of the fastest cars in the business, which were 2 Red Bull cars. So very, very well done to them. But the driver of the whole season has obviously been Shane Van Gisbergen from New Zealand, and some of his performances, I tell you, man, just never seen anything like it in V8 racing. He had I think he had a broken collarbone or something like that, or a broken rib from a biking accident that he had pre-season. And he went to Sandown with no expectations. He thought he was going to do horrible. He had to look after himself, had to make the seat feel comfortable for him because of his injury. But he came from the back of the grid to win the race at Sandown, and it was unbelievable. The amount of cars he was passing per lap, he passed them like they were standing still. You know, those Red Bull Holdens, when they're tuned up with those drivers like Van Gisbergen and Whincup, you know, they're quite hard to beat, especially with Bathurst coming up next weekend. You know, it's going to be quite hard to stop Red Bull, but you know, at Bathurst anyone could win that race. So but anyway, yeah. So Van Gisbergen clinched the title at the 4th week of the Sydney round. Won the championship by over 300, and at Bathurst, there's 300 points to win the race, and this is the final round of the championship. So no one can gain more than 300. So Van Gisbergen has won the title. So this is his second championship. He won his first in 2016, which was a whole of a lot closer because you know, they ran the whole year. And this year they've had like half their rounds missed because of COVID, which is really unfortunate. That's why they had the 4 race weekend calendar at Sydney, because of all the rounds that they've missed due to COVID-19. So it's a bit of a shame that's the way that's the season ran, and I hate to say it, but that was probably the worst season ever in my eye. But you know, unfortunately, that's the way the racing goes with what's going on in the world right now. So anyway, yeah, I'm really looking forward to Bathurst. I feel like Red Bull are going to be the team to beat. Sorry, and the Red Bull Holdens, but who knows? You know, Anton is really quick around the mountain, as he's shown when he was in a slower team. You know, David Reynolds is always fast around there, but he's got a kind of a shit team, so I don't know how he'll do. You got Brody Kostecki in the Erebus team, which he's really quick. So you've got a lot of people that can win that race. But anyway, this is speaking of that championship still. Sorry, they had. This is Jamie Whincup's final season as a full-time driver. He might be back as a co-driver next season with Brock Feeney, who has taken over his seat. He's the current Super 2 leader, and I'm sure he will be driving in the big race with the enforcer Russell Ingall as a wild card, which I'm really looking forward to. You know, that kid's got a lot of talent, and he's got some big shoes to fill if he's taking over Jamie Whincup's seat. So, you know, it's something you've got to really watch out for. He might be really fast next year. He might be really slow. You never know. But this is a good chance for him to get that seat time with the main game drivers before next year. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how he goes at Bathurst. He dominated the Super 2 race at the start of the year. At Bathurst, he dominated the Bathurst around there. So anyway, so this is going to be the end of the video. If you guys want me to talk about more racing on the channel, just let me know. I can organise something like that. You know, I can talk about whatever racing series you want me to talk about, so as long as I do my study on it, of course. But anyway, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, let me know what racing series you want me to comment about, and I'll see you later. Peace out.